Welcome to this tutorial. My name is Ian and I will be taking you through the tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at how we can easily apply conditional formatting to our Excel pivot tables. So highlighting and visualizing our data makes it easier for people to understand what's within the data. So if you see data that's in green, you probably think it's quite good. Whereas if you see data that's in red, well, it probably needs attention or for you to focus on it. So in this tutorial, we're going to be looking at how we can easily apply the conditional formatting rules, or we could use top 10, or we can even use icons or color scales. So many different things for us to go through. Please remember to subscribe and like our channel so you can keep up to date with all the latest videos. But let's jump into the tutorial. I will see you there. Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at something called conditional formatting. So conditional formatting is really useful when you want to highlight your data. Now normally if you see your data in green, you think, well, that's pretty good data, things are going well. However, if you see data in red, well, it normally means that you need to do some form of action on it. So it highlights it, brings it to your attention. So let's see how we're going to do that. So we've got our standard set of data that we've been working through with the set of tutorials. And let's create a customer state. Let's use that in our row. And we're going to use our sales and our values. And then let's use our product category across our columns. We've got quite a lot of values here. And let's say we want to now see values that are greater than $250,000 in green, and we want to see values less than $150,000 in red. Okay, so let's see how we would go ahead with that. So you'll see that on your home menu, you have conditional formatting. I'm going to select that. And the first option is that we can actually highlight our cell rules. So in this case, we're going to say that we want to see things that are greater than something. So you can see that you've got to apply it to range, and this is the highlighted range that we have. Then we're going to say that highlight cells with values that are greater than, and in this case, we're going to say 250,000. And then we've got our formatting. There are some predefined formats that you can choose from, but it's also really easy to choose your own formatting. So if you want, say, for example, in this case, we're going to go for a green background, and let's use a white font so it sticks out. And as you can see, you can use bold or italics, or you could use borders as well. Really easy to do. I'm going to say done. And you can see straight away now it highlights those values on our table. And let's say we want to add a new one, and I'm going to say new cell rule. And again, we've got the area that we want to work with. And in this case, we're going to say less than. And we're going to say 150,000. And this is going to be a red. And again, let's use the white text. Click done on that. And there we go. You can see very easily now that the values within office supplies tend to be lower than the values in technology or furniture. Those have been highlighted. So that's the first way that we can do highlighting, is we can choose according to rules. The next one we can do is we could actually decide we want to see, say, the top 10 items in green and the bottom 10 items in red. So in this case, what we're going to do is let's go to conditional formatting. We're going to clear the existing rules. So we'll say clear rules from an entire sheet. Let's remove everything. And just remember, make sure that just your values are highlighted. Don't include your grand totals because those values are quite big, so they will get highlighted. Now in this case, if we go across to conditional formatting, you will see that we get top and bottom rules. So what I'm going to say firstly is top 10, and we click on that. And you can see the rule type now has changed to top bottom. We've got top, and we're going to use 10. So I'm quite happy with that. Because this is my top, let's use our green again and use our white for our font. Done. So you can see now the top 10 items have actually been put in green. Again, if we wanted to, we could go back to conditional formatting and we could choose, and we could say that we want bottom 10. And in this case, bottom 10 items, red. Let's use our white and you'll see click done. And then we got top 10 and bottom 10 now have been highlighted. Now you may have noticed that when we went into our top and bottom, we do get other options. You can actually pick a percentage. So let's have a look at that. So let's say, for example, we wanted our top 20% in green and our bottom 20% in red. So let's go and clear our rules again. Clear rules from the entire sheet. And we're going to go back, top bottom rules, top 10%. And in this case, we're going to actually say we want top 20. And you can see percent has now been ticked. So we're going to choose our green background. Let's use our white text. And you can see those are the items now contributing the top 20% of sales. Again, we're going to go back to top bottom, and this time we're going to say bottom 10%. And you can see percentage is again ticked. I'm going to set bottom 20% in this case. Again, do our formatting. And you can see these are really quick and easy to be able to work with. Click on done. And there we go. We've now got the bottom 20% of values being highlighted. So just a different way of being able to look at your data. What you'll also see that is in your conditional formatting, you get these managed rules. So you do get the ability to be able to manage this. If I close this and go back to the pivot table, if you wanted to go back to the managing rules, just go into your conditional formatting, go to manage rules, and that would bring that up again. And you can see from here, you could add a new rule, or you could delete existing rules, or you can actually even change and edit the rules that you've got in place. So there we go. That's another way of being able to look at your data. Now, doing the same thing, you would be able to also show the values that are above average or below average. I'm going to leave you to experiment with those. But what I am going to move on to is talking about data bars, color scales, and icon sets. So we're going to clear our rules again, just to remove that off the pivot table. And I am going to change my pivot table just to take the products category out. So we're just going to have one column here, just to make it easier to be able to view this. Now the first one we're going to look at is a data bar. And what a data bar does is it creates a horizontal column graph. So basically you're going to see a bar graph is created across the cell. So when we go to conditional formatting, go to data bars, you'll see that you get a gradient fill. If we click on that, you'll see now that a little column graph has been created within that cell. And that's basically what a data bar is. Let's go back to this again. I'm going to highlight it again, go back. And what you'll see is that you can change the color of this. If you wanted to, you could have a green. You could also go, instead of using gradient colors, you could go down and you could have a solid color. So that's basically what a data bar is. If we move down a bit more, we have a color scale. So what a color scale does is it then colors the cell according to how high or low the value is against the other values. So in this case, if we go to the first one, you'll see that we have a green on the top, then it's yellow, and then it's red. So basically green will be given to the highest color. So when I select that now, you can see that the color scale actually has been placed on top of the data bar. So let's just clear that. Clear rules, just so you can see this a little bit easier. Go back to color scales. And there we go. So the highest amount here would get the darkest green. And then you can see the other greens. And then you can see the lowest amount would get the red. And the values in between kind of get a mixture between the green and the red. You can change this. You could go and you could use a different one. So you could decide to have blue on the top and red at the bottom. And as you can see, it just gives you a different style. So again, I'm going to leave this for you to experiment with and to see what type of color scales you would want to work with. Again, I'm going to clear this before we look at the last ones, which is our icons. So again, we've got different types that you can use. I'm going to miss the directional because here we've got highest and lowest. So we've got different shapes. So you can see here you get like a little robot shape. Again, if you go back into this, you could change this to indicators. See how it now the lower values will get the sort of crosses and the higher values will get the ticks. Again, you could go down, you could use a rating system. So again, the higher values would get the higher ratings, lower values get the lower ratings. Let's clear the rules. So there we go. That just gives you an overview of using your different conditional formatting. As you can see, it's really useful for highlighting values, being able to see the values. Again, you can link this and you can experiment with your slices as well and see how it works with your slices. So I'm going to leave you to experiment with that, and I hope to see you in another tutorial.